Imagine falling nearly 80 meters into a deep ice crevasse on one of the world's deadliest mountains and surviving for 3 days and 3 nights in freezing conditions, without food, without water, sufficient oxygen, and barely clinging to life. Now, that's not a movie plot. That's the real story of today's guest, Anurag Maloo. But Anurag isn't just a survivor, he's an explorer, an entrepreneur, and an advocate for sustainability and global change. From Antarctica to the Himalayas, from the classrooms and schools to startup boardrooms to the world's highest peaks, he's on a mission to push human limits and make a difference. Today, we're going beyond the headlines. We're talking about what really happened in the ice crevasse, the untold struggles of recovery, the fear, the hope, the lessons, and most importantly, what's next for a man who refuses to quit. So stick around, there's going to be an incredible conversation. Welcome to the show, Anurag.
Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to be here and speaking with you.
Fantastic. Now, first of all, let's go into this. How was the crevasse? Well, it probably wasn't pleasant, was it?
Uh, it was deep. It was like it's like a hole, inside the earth. Uh, Big walls. It was spacious though. I was sitting comfortably, and it was dark. Some light used to come in, when there is sun. So yes, I have seen that light that you were talking about earlier. When the light used to come from those holes, it was extremely cold,
Hmm.
freezing cold. You start to feel that numbness in your body, in your limbs, in your toes and fingers, and you feel it's very cold. Probably the temperatures were, minus 30, minus 40 degrees Celsius. And luckily, I was protected inside that crevasse because winds couldn't reach me. And that's why I think one of the reasons of my survival is being falling inside that crevasse, you know. Um,
Now that you've come out and you've recovered, that whole opportunity to some degree, right? I don't know if that's the right word, but the opportunity to have another lease on life. And how has that changed you and changed your perspective on life?
in so many ways, I mean, you start to look at life, from a very different lens of perspective. I see this incident not as a horrible or catastrophe or a bad thing, but I see this personally as a blessing that Annapurna chose me and it happened to me, you know, out of so many climbers climbing Annapurna and so many other mountains. And but that mountain chose me. Probably the mountain has trained me over these last years that I can survive something like this and go and share this story with the world. And probably that's why it has happened to me, you know. And I think I look at it from a lens that you can only control what you can. When, things are not in your control, you need to let go and you need to surrender. And I think I also truly surrendered to the mountain, you know. I'm very insignificant in front of you. I let you decide what you need to do. I've done what I'm supposed to do. I've been climbing for SDGs. I've been being the voice of these mountains and these glaciers. I'm raising awareness. I've always looked mountains with a lot of respect. Mountains are my gods. I've treated them with utmost respect and sincerity, not tried to harm them. And I think the mountain reciprocated all that back to me by protecting me, and especially when it's Annapurna, the mountain that's known for taking people's lives. Out of every three climber who attempts it, one dies. And that mountain sent me back home to share this story with the world. So that's why I see everything as a blessing that the mountain chose to protect me, and I want to use this chance that mountain has given me, for something lot more meaningful than I've done in my previous life. And this, lease of life I want to make sure it's meaningful, it makes that impact, it's worth it, you know. And so, in so many ways, a lot of learnings have happened. But two things I want to talk about here is now I live every day with utmost gratitude. I call it like I live on gratitude steroids now. Now, every second, every minute, you want to live in the present moment and you want to be grateful. And you don't want to cry and over smaller little things and challenges in life when you've seen a lot more. And another big shift that has happened with this, everything is temporary. Even the pain, my time inside the crevasse, everything that we go through, the success, the highs and lows, everything is temporary. You know, nothing, life has taught me that lesson on impermanence, and so that's one of the another beautiful lessons.
Now, this I do want to juxtapose that. So that those are the lessons from Annapurna, but also previously you were big in startups. We worked together at Techstars, even though different geographies. So everything was hustle, bustle. Everything was fast, move fast, and break things. And also before that, you were a teacher. Now, how do you marry them all now, finally? And what lessons do you want to teach, actually, using this opportunity, this experience for Annapurna? What are some of the things that you actually want to do and teach, perhaps even from a business and entrepreneurial perspective?
Yeah, it's beautiful that you asked me. You know, I've done few things in my life, probably correct. I've volunteered a lot in my life. I became a teacher. As an educator, I taught children. And when I was volunteering, who is a volunteer? Volunteer is actually a problem solver. You don't like something, you see a problem, you want to work towards solving that problem. Who is an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur also sees a problem. They want to also solve the problem, but with a business mindset, with a business lens. While solving the problem, how do we make an impact while making money? And mountaineering, they all are for me so similar. When I look at my life, volunteer or teacher or as an entrepreneur or as an mountaineer, same lessons life has taught me. As a mountaineer or as an entrepreneur, so many similar journey both these people go. You when you are running a business, you go through the hardships in the business. Similarly, in mountains, not every day is the same. There is a change in the weather. You need to learn to adapt. You need to have that agility. You need to build that resilience. You need to work together with team. So for me, a lot of these lessons, sometimes, I ask this question to myself: have I been an entrepreneur first or a mountaineer first? I don't know which one. It's like chicken and egg for me. But the mindset remained the same all the time. It has just amplified in different phases. When it mountaineering hat took over the entrepreneurship hat, when sometimes entrepreneurship hat took over the mountaineering hat. So but the core values and the mindset remained the same of actually a volunteer who likes to solve problems, who likes to deal with challenges head on, and wants to work in a constructive way to solve them, not complain about them. And this is what we do, as entrepreneurs. We don't complain about things, we want to solve them. Same in mountaineering, when we are stuck, you look for solutions. How do we do this? But in mountains, things uh, are a little different, because there is a real life at risk. You need to be careful about the decisions that you are making, but you need to be so adaptable. You need to make those decisions in that moment, in that time. So I think a lot of these lessons, that I've learned through mountaineering about dealing with chaos, dealing with uncertainty. Like when you are in difficult situations, how do you have come out from that? There is a blackout, there is a whiteout, sorry, like, and 30 minutes later, the mountain clears up. And then you go ahead, you need to wait for that time, to wait for the right weather window before you start climbing further. So this is one of the things that you have learned, I've learned from mountains, is like timing matters. In business also, timing matters. As an entrepreneur, what time you are working on a particular idea, is this the right time for that idea? Is this the right product market fit you have been able to find or not yet? So a lot of these lessons that you learn as an entrepreneur, you also get to learn in a different fashion through mountains. And I think probably I've always used both of them in my life, and help, it has helped me move forward. Right now, I don't know what's next for me, to be honest. I'm figuring out a lot of these things, the different pieces in this puzzle of what is my second chance has to offer. you know I'm exploring, experimenting. I was at one point also exploring Paralympic sports because of amputations, but figured out that I don't have enough amputations to even pursue that, so that is gone. So right now I'm going through a journey of eliminating what I can't do and what I can do, because now everything seems possible to me. The world is just full of possibilities for me right now. Nothing looks really impossible. And that's what is one of the biggest blessing that Annapurna has offered me, this ordeal has offered me, is the sense of possibility is gone very high for me now.
That's a,
Everything
that's
looks possible.
that's that's an amazing mindset. It's simply amazing. I know it's almost, April is your second year anniversary, so the further and further you get from it, I guess part of you forget, but yet you still have that mindset that this is an amazing opportunity.
Yeah. And I'm like all the time, I can do this, I can do that also, But like I'm really trying to find out what would be the most meaningful thing where I commit my time and energy and resources to building. And for that, I have to experiment, I have to try and see what works, what does not work. Right now, I'm also started a non-profit, a foundation, to use this voice that Annapurna has given me for the glaciers. So I've started a foundation called the Voice of Glacier Foundation to amplify the unheard voices of glaciers, bring attention to the climate vulnerabilities that the world is facing right now, and bring that attention to the mountains, to these glaciers. I'm doing a lot of speaking, keynotes, conducting corporate trainings and leadership workshops and master classes around thrive, building resilience.
Mm.
How do you build resilient leadership? Every organization, every individual needs that. How do you create that leadership? Because leaders are the one who will be leading these organizations. How do you build that growth mindset? How I have used this traumatic experience, rather than going and crying about this, facing PTSD, how I have transformed this into a post traumatic growth opportunity for me, you know
That's
and how
actually
do I translate that into others? I want to help others, coach people, train,
that,
helping build that mindset.
that's actually a really good point. Actually, a lot of people could actually just check out, and nothing against that, right? I mean, it's a very traumatic experience.
It's hard, and there is nothing to blame them. We have not been taught how to deal with these adversities in life. It's not their fault. Our education system has not taught us these things. Life is teaching us. Are we learning or not? If we are learning and using this, you know, but it all then comes to how are you looking at this? What lens are you looking at this experience? You know,
Shoot, Anurag, when did that happen? Did you like literally wake up the next day when you first came out of coma and just say, "Look, I'm gonna fight this. I'm gonna recover
no, I
this."
have no initial days, I have no idea. Like, probably it took doctors 50 days or 60 days for them to be sure that I would survive. It was on my 34th birthday on 13th June 1918, 2023, when I was shifted from ICU to the normal ward in the hospital on my birthday. That's when doctors were sure now there is a good likelihood that this person will survive now, and we want to shift him to the ward so that he can celebrate this life, he can celebrate his birthday with his family and friends. So, and after that, when I'm getting my consciousness back, I'm coming back to senses, starting to meet people, friends, family. That's where, all of it helped me heal. And I'm like, I can cry about this. So when you are lying on the hospital bed for 6 months, what do? You are thinking constantly. Your brain is going with so many thoughts.
Mm, mm,
And that's where also the clarity comes. Lying on that hospital bed, just reflecting, being in your own thoughts with all of that pain. When the dressings happens, when the amputations are happening, the surgeries are happening, it's all your personal time. I count that time as a blessing. I can't have that time right now. I don't have that luxury to get that time back.
mm,
But I had that time, you know, and just reflecting on the beauty of this life, of my survival. If life did not give up on me, if my family did not give up on me, if my friends did not give up on me, if strangers did not give up on me, the world did not give up on me, who am I to give up on myself?
mm,
I need to make best use of this life that I have been bestowed upon.
mm, mm. That's a beautiful both vision and I think strength. And that's something that actually I hope that you talk more and share with other people. Do you think that just inspiration alone is enough? Do you think, in your future work in inspiring, do you have to take them to something physically also demanding as well?
Beautiful question. Honestly, I believe inspiration alone is not enough. You need to act. You need to do something about it. Inspiration needs to also translates into action. And I don't know what the future unfolds, in what way it will unfold for me, but I hope I can also continue to act and make impact. But also, I hope I can take people along with me on this journey to take that action and make an impact in their lives and in the lives of they are working with.
Fantastic. Those are great words. Thank you very much, Anurag, for your time. And I wish you the best of journey.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to speak and have this conversation.